Nicholas Glover with the Tampa Bay Chamber. I want to thank and welcome our viewers tuning into our 2023 candidate interview series for the City of Tampa City Council elections. The Chamber focuses on policy, not politics. And while we do not endorse, we do want to make sure that our members and the business community are informed on where these candidates stand on the issues most important to them. Today, we are excited to have Alan Clendenin with us, running for City Council, District 1, Citywide. Thank you for joining us, Alan.
Hi, Nick, and thank you for having me and allowing me to speak to your membership.
It's a pleasure. Alan, we're just about 60 days away from Election Day, March 7th. Now that we're in this final stretch, can you give us a brief update on the campaign, how things are going, and what message you hope to deliver to voters in the final stretch?
Absolutely. As far as the campaign, it's going very well. We're leading in fundraising right now, 3-1. I've got teams on the ground walking neighborhoods and knocking on doors. We're doing phone banking, event planning for raising money, of course, to get the message out. And I'd say we're firing on all cylinders and exceeding expectations. The race is important, as I think many of you guys know. Tampa's on the precipice of something really great, and we need to make sure that we have a government and a city government and a city council that reflects the status of Tampa. We've got a lot of things in the fire. I know a lot of your members have a lot at stake as to which direction the city of Tampa goes. And I hope to be part of that solution. I hope to be an ally of building the city of Tampa through smart rules and really benefiting the business community as well as the residents that live here.
Thank you. Let's talk about the role of City Council to start with. What is the role of City Council, and do you see that role potentially evolving during the course of your term?
Well, City Council, we have a mayor and council, which is our governing body for the city of Tampa. Call it a strong mayor form of government, and that it doesn't really. That's not really the point of how our government structured. It's very different than like across the bay in St. Petersburg. We do have a mayor that runs the day-to-day operation of the city and makes the calls, but the city council is an important piece. And really, I look at the two together as people that should be bodies that should be working together to further the goals of the city of Tampa and not necessarily working against each other. City of Tampa Council is our budget authority. They're the ones that pass the budget, nearly $2 billion in spending per year for the city of Tampa. They're the ones that pass all the ordinances. They do land use, land zoning. They approve variances after they've gone through a certain process, which is really, really important to the business community and to the folks that are here, really, day to day. Just people are looking for housing, people that are looking for transportation options, and working with the mayor, looking at things, working against issues. And I look forward to being the person that is able to work with the mayor, being able to really work with the other members of city council. There's 7 members on city council. 3 of them are citywide. 4 of them are single member district. I'm running for District 1, which is a citywide seat. So if you live in the city of Tampa, I will be on your ballot. One person's not enough. You need somebody that can work with other people to be able to get an agenda done. I'm one of those folks that have a lifetime of achievement of sitting on boards, councils, and other, groups that have, be able to accomplish mission. And that's what I look forward to, is being able to team build, work with the people that I sit next to in a adult business-like way, to be able to work through the processes, to be able to move Tampa forward.
Thank you. You mentioned the budget, and you mentioned that one of the biggest responsibilities of city council is to approve the budget. Some state experts and analysts related to the economy are expecting a potential slowdown during your term. During that time period, if we do slow down, how should the city prioritize spending?
I don't anticipate any economic downturn that is going to really adversely affect the city of Tampa. We're in a trajectory that I think is going to defy, maybe if there's a longer term, national issues in certain states and certain cities, I think will be more negatively impacted than us. Right now, all indications are that our growth is going to continue. And I believe the business community is betting on that as well, as you see with the shovels in the ground and so many projects that are happening. And you want to know where the real economy is going, follow the money. And I think the money is coming to Tampa. And we're seeing a lot of folks that are investing here. We see people that are companies that are looking to us for relocations. And I anticipate that the city of Tampa is going to fare well. Our budget priorities, I mean, folks don't really realize a lot, like the millage. The millage only covers even just a percentage of our fire and police department. We get money from all different sources, diversified revenue streams. We should be relatively, unless it is a severe downturn, which I haven't heard anybody project that. I think we should be pretty immune to that. Our priorities right now, budget spending, I think we're on target with where we need to be. We've got one of the finest police departments in the state, if not the country. Our firefighting, we probably have some equipment needs and maybe a couple stations we need to build. Our biggest need in the city of Tampa, and I think most people that will be listening to this know this, and that is our deficit in transportation, our improving our roads, improving our sidewalks, ensuring that we can get folks from the workplace to their homes and then back is the real gap that we have. And we have to find a way to do that. Unfortunately, with the failure of all for transportation, which I was a huge proponent of and supporter of, I believe it was a great solution to the immense needs that we have in this community. We're going to have to be creative and looking at ways to solve that problem. I think we have an opportunity now with the streetcar expansion, with matching funds, to be able to maybe work with the CRAs to be able to find that extra money to be able to match that fund, to extend it up to Palm, and also do an upgrade on the more fast-moving alternatives to the transportation, getting bigger cars and be able to that is more of a transportation infrastructure as opposed to a novelty. I don't know if folks realize our streetcar system is the second high riding capacity in the United States behind Kansas City, which is, I think, an incredible statistic. But we need to augment that. Fast buses, going up our proposed transportation corridors, linking the downtown business area to Midtown and the West Shore Business District, as well as the airport. And then the other corridor running up Florida, Nebraska, through the residential areas to USF and the important business drivers that exist in that area. Once we solve those transportation corridors, I think some of the other stuff will follow.
You mentioned transportation as a gap. I promise we're going to come back to that. But another gap that we desperately need filled is the housing gap. This chamber has leaned into workforce housing, which we define as 80 to 120% of area median income, that missing middle, if you will. What I want to know, Alan, is what zoning or policy changes would you support to address the growing workforce housing needs in Tampa?
Well, thanks for addressing a missing middle. We hear a lot, affordable housing term, it gets thrown around an awful lot. And I think that term that some of the population, when they hear that, believes that there's some magic solution to severely discounted housing and such a rapidly growing area. And if any candidate comes on one of these interviews and tells you that they're going to solve the affordable crisis that is affecting not just Tampa, not just Florida, not just the United States, but really the entire Western world, they're really just being way too much of a politician for their own good and not telling you the truth. I think most of the people that we listen to this understand that the cost of housing is complicated with supply chain issues, cost of building materials, cost of land, and as we grow, of course, the cost of land is not going to get any cheaper. There are things that we can do for the truly affordable housing for lower income. And I think we're kind of in the right trajectory. And I think the mayor is doing the right things with that. Can we do better? Yes, probably. But I think a lot of those solutions are more state and federal driven. Locally, with the missing middle and the workforce housing, I think we do a really good job with working with builders as we grant waivers and land to land use and zoning to incentivize them, reducing parking minimums, incentivize them to add that missing middle housing to their project. You see with Daryl Shaw and what he's doing this commitment. I mean, almost every major project in town, the administration and our team that works at the city is working closely with the builders to ensure that we have set asides for the missing middle housing. We can be creative. We can work with, like I said, reducing parking minimums. We can work with other, setbacks, waivers, and other subsidies to be able to get that housing in. And I'm fully supportive of that. I think it's probably in my eye, as I look at the growth and development of the city of Tampa, having that missing middle housing for people that are working in Tampa, in the city of Tampa, is one of the most important issues that we need to address.
Thank you, Alan. I want to switch gears and talk about the idea of home rule. Local governments across the state have been critical recently of the legislature. Do you agree that preemption has become a problem in Tallahassee? And if so, how would you work to establish a more productive working relationship with our legislative delegation?
Preemption is a huge problem in the state of Florida, and I think what we've seen now is it's become a political tool for messaging as opposed to policy. Running up for city council, I can't tell you that I'm going to be able to solve the preemption issue, but what I can tell you is I've spent a lifetime building relationships. I have a lot of relationships, not just here in the city of Tampa, but also in Tallahassee. I've worked closely with members that on both political parties, and I believe I'm kind of the team builder that, before I act, as we've seen in other issues where like somebody in the city introduces legislation or an ordinance that maybe would be a catalyst or a provoking preemption, without laying the groundwork, without talking to the local delegation, the legislative delegation, to get their buy-in on what you're attempting to do to kind of avoid those kind of actions in Tallahassee. We've seen it happen to us in Tampa, where we've had important things preempted that because it was the lack of preparation, the lack of coalition building. I'm a coalition builder. I've had a lifetime of doing that type of work. I've had a lifetime of working with people to get things done. And that's going to be my goal on city council, is working not just with the 6 other people that sit on the dais with me, but working with the mayor, working with our state. I mean, if you look at my endorsement list, you'll see that I've been endorsed by many state legislatures, both current and former, including the head of our local delegation, Diane Hart. She's a strong supporter of mine, and has been a strong supporter of mine. I promise you that when I do something and introduce a proposal, that I'm going to make sure that I coordinate with these folks and have their buy-in. So when they go to Tallahassee, they fight our fight for us, and they're not working against us.
Thank you. Another issue critically important to the chamber is economic development. Utilization of public-private partnerships continues to be an asset for local governments across the country. Alan, what opportunities for P3s do you see in the city?
I think that's really the concept of working jointly with the private sector is important as we move forward. We have a lot of examples where we have cooperative agreements between private industry and government and work closely together. I think some of maybe our transportation challenges could be done in that manner. Definitively, I haven't really pursued or looked at anything specific as far as an agenda item for those public-private cooperative agreements. I think that we need to work closely with our business community to get things done. I think we've got a good example. I think that the mayor has done a good job of doing that. I think that as we move forward, our city council needs to be open to that concept, because quite frankly, there's just so much government funding and government bureaucracy that a city or any area can bear. And looking towards the private sector to work with our counterparts in that level of government is very, very, very critical to the future as we develop and grow.
Thank you. I told you we'd come back to transportation. So I have a question about the already collected offer transportation referendum dollars. As you know, Alan, the fate of those dollars rests now in the hands of the Florida legislature. And assuming that Hillsborough is able to secure the funds this session, what are the most important transportation investments that you'd like to see in Tampa?
Yeah, I fully expect that the money will come. What I want to make sure that it is not, they don't look at it as like the Florida lottery money where it's replacement money. I don't want them to send us the money that was been collected already from this tax and then take away money that we would have gotten otherwise. So I think that's part of working with the delegation to make sure that that doesn't happen. When that money comes, of course, it's coming to Hillsborough County, not just the city of Tampa. So we'll only get it. We'll get our percentage of it. The needs are so great that it's just the proverbial drop in the black bucket. There's three priorities in my mind that we need to work on. That is, and maybe this is not glamorous, but I think it's a critical need. We need to kind of look at back to basics. We need some sidewalk construction in some of our lower economic areas around schools. We did away with courtesy busing. We have a lot of school kids that walk to school, and they do not have adequate sidewalks to be able to safely go from their homes to school. And like I said, that may not be glamorous, and it doesn't necessarily do anything for the direct ties to the economy, but it's a safety thing, and I think it's very important to the citizens of Tampa that the government provides that type of infrastructure, and we just don't have the money for it now. But that will help go a long way. On a mass transit or transportation, I really want to see this. We're not going to have any rail without some fairy dust being sprinkled in the short term. But so I would like to see the rapid buses. I'd like to see buses established in those corridors, linking the rapid buses, that are coming, 10, no more than 15 minutes apart, linking the business district with Midtown, West Shore Business District, and the airport, linking going up Florida, Nebraska avenues and we can build density in those areas, linking USF and the important areas, business areas up there to our central business area, and the new proposed high-speed rail that we should be getting. Many people already know it's in the works. Planning's in the works. Land acquisitions in the works, going from the Orlando Convention Center area through Lakeland and then into hopefully what will be somewhere in the proximity between downtown and Ybor City. And we need to make sure that we have infrastructure to link that station with other areas of town. And I think this will be, at least if nothing else, seed money to make sure we have high-speed, rapid, fast bus lines to go back and forth to those areas.
Excellent. Alan, we touched on a variety of important policy areas today, but before we wrap up, is there a priority of yours in the campaign that we did not discuss that you'd like to talk about, or something that you'd like to circle back to and reemphasize?
Well, a little bit about my background. I think I probably kind of missed out on that in the beginning, where I should have introduced. I've lived in Tampa for 37 years, and I raised my two kids here. I'm a Floridian. I grew up in Central Florida, but I chose to live in the city of Tampa. I could have, as an air traffic controller, I could have lived in any major metropolitan area with a busy airport. I chose to be here because I love the city of Tampa. I think I appreciate the cultural diversity. I appreciate the fact that the bilingual aspect of the city of Tampa. I love the architecture of the city of Tampa and these unique, distinctive neighborhoods. So as we grow the city of Tampa, I want to make sure that we don't lose what is important and special about Tampa in that process. As an air traffic controller and as a manager in air traffic, I managed the air traffic control operation. I was a floor manager. I managed the radar approach control and the air traffic control tower at Tampa International. For those of you, I'm sure most people are aware, it's a highly complex operation, and I would kind of draw a parallel in a symphony conductor. That's what I did as a manager in that operation. You have all these pieces orchestra, and you make sure that it all comes together and makes beautiful music. And that's what happens in air traffic control as well. Manage a highly complex workforce. I've managed multi-million-dollar budgets. I have a small business. I have rental properties. So I know what it's like to have, that stress and that burden of owning a business and making sure that you pay your bills and making sure that, things are able to click along the way you're meeting your yearly goals. Raising two children, raising two teenagers, they're adults now, but surviving the teenage years, I think, is an important goal. And I think it's an important area that experience that I've had that prepares me for working in government. And having children is, I think, if those of you that have kids, you know what I'm talking about. I've had a lifetime of achievements in working at both regional and national level. For 6 years, I represented the air traffic controllers politically in Washington, D.C., helped navigate Congress and work with the legislatures up there to work to benefit of the air traffic control workplace, our equipment procurement. I've worked on many different projects. I've sat on more boards that if you were to challenge me to put pen to paper and list them, I think I couldn't possibly remember half of them that I've worked on, things that I've done in my life. So a lifetime of accomplishments, a lifetime of working hard to make other people's lives better. And that's really what I want to do on Tampa City Council is, I see dysfunction. And I mean, if you've been paying attention, we have a problem on City Council, and I look to be part of that solution. I look forward to it. I've done my entire life. I put myself in that situation. When I see that type of dysfunction, I jump in to fix it. And with best as I know, without exception, I've been very successful at doing that. I look forward to bringing that skill set to the city of Tampa and working with you all and the business community in the city of Tampa to take Tampa to the next level without losing what Tampa is.
Thank you. And finally, where can voters go to learn more about you, Alan, your campaign, or the positions that are the most important to them?
Absolutely. My website is my first name, last name, Alan Clendenin, AlanClendenin.com, AlanClendenin.com. You can find me on Facebook with the same handle, and then my Twitter is @Clendenin, and Instagram is the same, first initial, last name. And you can always call me. My cell phone number, it's been my cell phone number for years, and it'll continue to be, is 813-495-7751. Call me or text me. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I look forward to working with you all. I will be present. I will have an open ear, and I will be receptive to your input and really listen to you on what your ideas are on how we move Tampa forward.
Alan Clendenin, running for City Council District 1 Citywide. On behalf of our members and our board of directors, we want to thank you for joining us today and for your willingness to serve in an elected office. That concludes our interview, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone's support. Have a beautiful day.